Railways are the arteries of our world, connecting nations and cultures through the transportation of people and goods. They traverse vast distances, bridging the gap between remote villages and bustling metropolises. They are a testament to human ingenuity and engineering prowess, showcasing our ability to overcome geographical barriers and unite diverse regions. Yet this interconnected web of steel relies on a crucial element for its seamless operation: a standardized gauge. Without it, the efficiency and fluidity of rail travel would be severely compromised. This standard gauge, a seemingly simple concept, has played a pivotal role in shaping the global railway network we know today. It ensures compatibility and interoperability across different regions. Imagine a world where trains could seamlessly cross borders, effortlessly transporting goods and passengers without the need for time-consuming transfers. This vision has been realized through the adoption of standard gauge. This is the world that standard gauge has made possible. It has transformed the way we travel and conduct trade, making the world more interconnected than ever before. It has facilitated trade, fostered economic growth, and brought people closer together. The economic benefits and social impacts are immeasurable. The story of standard gauge is a fascinating journey through history, marked by innovation, rivalry, and ultimately, cooperation. It is a tale of how a unified vision can lead to monumental progress. It is a story of how a simple measurement revolutionized transportation and shaped the course of nations. The impact of this standardization cannot be overstated. This essay delves into the history and significance of standard gauge railways, exploring its impact on the world and highlighting its enduring legacy. Join us as we uncover the remarkable journey of railways and their unifying power. In the early days of railways, a lack of standardization led to a chaotic patchwork of different gauges across the world. This inconsistency created numerous challenges for the burgeoning railway industry, complicating the construction and operation of rail networks. Each railway company often adopted its own gauge, resulting in a logistical nightmare for long-distance travel and trade. The lack of a unified system meant that trains from one company could not run on the tracks of another, severely limiting connectivity. Trains were literally confined to their own networks, unable to operate on tracks with different gauges. This fragmentation hindered the efficiency of rail transport, making it difficult to establish a cohesive transportation system. This incompatibility meant that goods and passengers had to be unloaded and reloaded onto different trains at gauge breaks, adding significant delays and costs to journeys. The process was labor-intensive and time-consuming, further exacerbating the inefficiencies. The situation was particularly acute in the United States, where a multitude of gauges proliferated, hindering the development of a unified national rail network. The diversity of gauges made it nearly impossible to create a seamless rail system across the country. The economic and logistical challenges posed by these gauge breaks became increasingly apparent. Delays and disruptions were common, affecting both commercial and passenger services. The need for a universal standard, a gauge that would allow trains to seamlessly transition between different lines, became paramount. Engineers and policymakers began to advocate for a standardized gauge to solve these persistent issues. This growing demand for interoperability set the stage for the emergence of standard gauge. The adoption of a common gauge was seen as essential for the future of efficient and reliable rail transport. The story of standard gauge is inextricably linked with George Stephenson, the renowned English civil and mechanical engineer often hailed as the father of railways. His contributions to the development of railway systems were groundbreaking and set the foundation for modern rail transport. Stephenson's pioneering work in railway engineering, particularly his development of the steam locomotive, played a pivotal role in the adoption of standard gauge. His innovative designs and engineering prowess were instrumental in transforming the railway industry. While Stephenson did not invent the specific measurement of 4 feet 8.5 inches, or 1,435 millimeters, that defined standard gauge, his early railways were instrumental in its widespread adoption. His practical approach to engineering and his ability to solve complex problems made him a key figure in this transition. His influential Stockton and Darlington Railway, which opened in 1825, initially used a gauge of 4 feet 8 inches. This railway was a significant milestone in the history of rail transport, demonstrating the potential of railways to revolutionize transportation. However, Stephenson recognized the need for a slightly wider gauge to accommodate smoother movement on curves and improve stability. This insight was crucial in enhancing the efficiency and safety of railway operations. He implemented this wider gauge of 4 feet 8.5 inches for the Liverpool and Manchester Railway, which opened in 1830 and became a resounding success. This railway not only solidified the adoption of this gauge in Britain, but also influenced railway standards worldwide, marking a significant achievement in the history of rail transport. The adoption of standard gauge in Britain was not without its challenges. The 19th century witnessed a period of intense competition and debate known as the Gauge Wars. Railway companies fiercely advocated for their preferred gauges, leading to a fragmented and inefficient rail network. One notable proponent of a wider gauge was Isambard Kingdom Brunel, a celebrated engineer who championed the 7-foot and 1/4 inch broad gauge used by the Great Western Railway. Brunel argued that the broader gauge offered greater stability and speed. However, the economic and logistical advantages of standardization ultimately prevailed. The Gauge Act of 1846 mandated standard gauge for all new passenger railways in Great Britain, marking a turning point in the standardization process. The Great Western Railway eventually converted to standard gauge by 1892, solidifying its dominance in Britain. Section 5. Across the Atlantic Standard Gauge in America. The development of railways in the United States mirrored the early challenges faced in Britain, with a proliferation of different gauges hindering the growth of a unified national network. The vast distances and burgeoning industrial revolution in America made the need for standardized railways even more pressing. Early American railways imported locomotives and rolling stock from Britain, leading to the adoption of standard gauge in some regions. However, other gauges, including 5-foot broad gauge in the South, gained traction. The American Civil War highlighted the strategic importance of railways and the need for standardization. The South's reliance on a different gauge proved to be a logistical disadvantage during the war. Following the war, there was a concerted effort to unify the nation's rail network. The Southern states eventually converted to standard gauge in 1886, marking a significant milestone in American railway history. Section 6. Continental Convergence. Europe embraces uniformity. As railways spread across Europe, the issue of gauge standardization became increasingly important for international travel and trade. European nations initially adopted a variety of gauges, reflecting national preferences and rivalries. France and Belgium, for instance, adopted a gauge of 1,500 millimeters, while other countries, including Germany, opted for standard gauge. The lack of interoperability between these different gauge systems posed significant obstacles to cross-border rail travel. However, the economic and strategic benefits of a unified European rail network were undeniable. Gradually, European nations began to recognize the importance of standardization. Many countries, particularly those bordering nations using standard gauge, adopted the standard gauge, facilitating international rail travel and promoting economic integration. Section 7. A world-painted standard gauge. Today, standard gauge reigns supreme as the most widely used railway gauge in the world, accounting for approximately 55% of railway lines globally. Its adoption has spread far beyond its British origins, connecting nations and continents through a vast and intricate rail network. From the bustling cities of Europe to the sprawling landscapes of North America, standard gauge has facilitated the movement of people and goods, fostering economic growth and cultural exchange. It has played a pivotal role in shaping the modern world, connecting distant corners of the globe through the power of rail travel. Section 8. The almost standard gauge is close, but not quite. While standard gauge has emerged as the dominant global standard, some countries and regions continue to use gauges that are very close but not quite identical to 1,435 millimeters. These almost standard gauges, often differing by just a few millimeters, present an intriguing aspect of railway history and engineering. For instance, some railways in the United States adopted a gauge of 4 feet 9 inches, a subtle variation from standard gauge. This minor difference, although seemingly insignificant, highlights the challenges of achieving absolute standardization in a vast and complex industry like railways. Similarly, some modern transit systems, such as the Toronto Transit Commission, use gauges that are slightly narrower than standard gauge. These variations often stem from historical factors, engineering considerations, or the specific requirements of urban transit systems. Section 9. The enduring legacy of the Iron Road. The story of standard gauge is a testament to the transformative power of standardization. It highlights how a seemingly simple measurement can have a profound impact on the development of a global industry and the interconnectedness of nations. From its humble beginnings in Britain to its current status as the world's dominant railway gauge, standard gauge has played a pivotal role in shaping the course of history. It has facilitated trade, spurred economic growth, and brought people closer together. As we look to the future of rail transport, the legacy of standard gauge will continue to shape the development of high-speed rail networks, urban transit systems, and freight corridors. Its enduring influence is a reminder of the importance of cooperation, innovation, and the pursuit of standards that benefit humanity. Please subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell, give us a thumbs up, and share this video with your friends.